One, I like to begin by saying Barakatah, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah, double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone, salutations to the sincere Akiam that push this truth with no due diligence and sincerity. As you can see here from this Metro article, inside the fight night, white supremacist groups preparing for global race war. Esau knows what time it is. A lot of these other nations know exactly what time it is. It's just our stupid people, man. Still lackadaisical, have no clue what's actually going on and what's about to occur. But this whole planet is about to descend into anarchy, man. Hell on earth is about to be unleashed. And, hey, man, these Edomites are going to show exactly how they feel about Jake in particular. A hateful white supremacist network with a Fight Club ethos is spreading across the US and around the world, new research shows. Neo-Nazi active clubs are said to be one of the fastest growing extreme right groups in America and are also present in the UK and in Europe. So in the UK we have the English Defence League, the EDL, yeah, and led by Jonathan Yaxley, Mr. Yaxley, yeah, the English Defence League. And in Europe, they've got their various different fractions also. But long story short, it's Edomites that are saying they want to take their country back and they feel like the immigrants are fucking it out for everybody. And, you know, Britain is a white man's country, it's a Christian country, mate. You know, even though everyone out here is godless. And Muhammad is the most popular name in the country. It shows them a hell of them Ishmaelites out here that have also brainwashed the minds of those that follow their religion. But anyway, the neo-Nazis, yeah, is what they call them. Basically new school Nazis. And these groups here pretty much are you're either white or you're not or you're the other side, you know. And as you can see here, man, these branches outwardly promote mixed martial arts, MMA, training, and brotherhood while preparing members for a race war against their perceived enemies, according to the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL. Collaboration between a long list of clubs in the US and the UK and Europe is evident in online communications seen by the Metro. One branch in London is among those who have been active over the New Year period, with members shown participating in MMA training, so they're mobilizing. Yeah, but you'll still have it here where Vocab Malone will still overlook individuals like this and say that we're a hate group because we're prophesying the truth about the destruction that the Heavenly Father, that God is going to bring on the so-called white man. But he'll label us as worse than them. You see, but those Edomites there are just staying true to their spirit in that they hate Jake and they want to see Jake down and out, dead. Genesis the 27th chapter verse 41. The spirit goes right back to their forefather Esau, man. In fact, let me go to verse 40 in Genesis 27. And by their sword shall thou live. This is Isaac blessing Esau with the remains after Jacob rightfully took the blessing. And by thy sword shall thou live. And thou shalt serve thy brother. Yeah, so ultimately he's gonna be underneath us anyway. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So you know when he's gonna be in power, he's gonna break pretty much any hold we got off him. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him, even though he sold the birthright. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. So basically, long story short, Jacob was rightfully given the birthright because it was prophecy anyway that the elder shall serve the younger, right? We all know that. But Esau Edom in his spirit, even though he sold it for a morsel of meat, yeah, was vexed. And as a result of that, he said, and read it again, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. So, you know, I got to mourn for my father right now and go through the proceedings. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. So he was, he was on the smoke when he wanted to take Jacob out. This is the same spirit of Cain, man. Because this is Cain coming back in the reincarnation, man. And Cain, was the first murderer when he killed Abel because of the fact that his offering wasn't looked upon favorably by the Lord, whereas Abel offered up a sacrifice the finest of his flocks. Cain was sacrificing fruits. That's the nature of this devil. Only thinking about themselves, even literally when it comes to the Most High and sacrifice, man. Anyway, and these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah, and she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau, touching thee, doth comfort himself, proposing to kill thee. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise, flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran. So he said, hey, Rebekah told Jacob, flee to your uncle's, you know, and tarry with him a few days until thy brother's fury turn away. So basically, flee to your uncle and wait till your brother basically calms down, until thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget which thou hast done to him. Then will I send and fetch thee from thence. Why should I be deprived of also? Sorry, why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these which are of the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do me? So basically, she was giving Jacob advice. But she was basically not sorry, let me rephrase that. She was speaking to Isaac, and basically was hoping that Jacob will get a righteous wife, but rather than one of the women of the land at the time. But ultimately, what you gotta understand is Jacob was told to flee, man, because Esau was vexated and wanted to kill him. Yeah, and that's the same spirit that this devil has had right unto this point, man. Where ultimately, man, just a second. Uh, da, 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 da. This devil in this day and age, yeah, ultimately speaking, has the same mentality. He wants to take us out, whether it's the politician, your co-worker, the Edomite, your neighbor that might have borrowed you that sugar at one time. He's gonna show you exactly what he's about. In the time of Jacob's trouble, Psalms 55 verse 20, he have put forth. This is talking about the entire nation of Edom and their practices, like for example the transatlantic slave trade. Psalms 55 and 20, he have put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. He have broken his covenant. First and foremost, this devil just turned up on the shores of the west coast after his people, the Romans, thousands of years ago, had chased us out of our homeland and persecuted and killed those that remained, and persecuted those that fled also. Yeah, he turned up on the coast of our habitations on the west coast of Africa, and just pretty much started slaughtering Jake, man, and taking the ones he wanted on ships. Of course, there were sellouts amongst our own people that enabled these devils to do that. But that's the nature of this so-called white man. He turned up to the Americas, man, Christopher Columbus, and that, yeah, on his expedition with Hebrew interpreters, might I add. And ultimately, even though the natives, showed them how to live, Gad, Reuben, and them, they just killed them, man. It's like, they betrayed them, they killed them, made treaties, reneged on all of their treaties, lied, killed men, women, and children, raped the women, fed babies to alligators. They kicked them off the land for the natural resources, man. And all the natives did was show them love. To this day, Jake is still being oppressed. Psalms 55 and 21, 20, he hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. And now people are at peace with these devils. Even still in this day and age, knowing all that they know, Jake is still trying to get good with Esau Edom. But fuck this devil, man. There ain't nothing right about these fucking Satanists. He have broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Cast straight up and down. And the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. You see, these devils, whether, like, you got different types of devils. You got devils like those MMA fighting demons, the mighty men of Esau, that will just come out straight with it. And then you also have Edomites that really and truly are going to be a lot more slick about it, are going to be passively aggressive, are going to come at you with policies and tactics, all the while telling you that they're about your good. And that's the nature of the average Edomite, man. Just being serpent-like and demonic. But you see, as you can see here in these images, neo-Nazi active clubs combine combat training with a white brotherhood ethos. You can see these devils here are preparing because they know what time it is. Since January 2021, active clubs have continued to spread and currently maintain a presence in 36 US states and have multiple chapters abroad, including Estonia, Scotland, Germany, France, Norway, Finland, and more. And they're here as well, 100%. Look at this here. These active club chapters continue to engage in underground activity, disturbing propaganda, organizing a range of demonstrations, and hosting large-scale fight nights across the United States. And it's coming here to the UK. You best believe it. You best believe it, man. There are also clubs in Scotland and Northern Ireland. One club in London posts pictures of members with only their faces obscured, training in a playground, and carries a quote from the Italian far-right philosopher Julius Evola encouraging race wars. You know, straight onto the point, man. But you see, people being racist is normal. And this is the thing about this society, is that they try and talk all this good talk about we should all get together as one and alleviate racism and blah blah blah. Racism is a normal part of society. The Most High is racist. Guess what? He chose Israel above every other nation upon the face of the planet Earth. If that's not racism, man, you see, what you gotta understand is everyone's gonna turn to their own people, man. Second Ezra 15, and I'm gonna start from verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, meaning destruction. Woe is the old English word for destruction. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another people, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. Because there's going to be ill feeling among men. People are going to be running up in each other's houses, each other's neighborhoods. You're going to see bands of Edomites like this, man. And even some white jakes that think that they're Edomites will create as crazy as it's going to be, you know, that are going to be running up into Israelite communities, man. Harassing Jake, man. You're gonna see women getting ravished. You're gonna see houses getting broken into, and the politicians, they ain't gonna be out there trying to stop it. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. You're gonna have people out there with guns, literal swords, knives. For there shall be sedition among men, ill feeling. And this is what I'm talking about here in the UK. They're pushing immigration as the major issue, when it really and truly the basic services of the UK are being kept up because of immigration, because these people in Britain, these native Brits, don't want to work. They're over 70% of the people on the government support schemes, but they're still out here complaining about the immigrants. And the media's feet fanning the flames. Hence why there's going to be ill feeling, man, sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Meaning that they're not going to give a fuck about their politicians, because their politicians have been set up as the fall guys for these economies breaking down so that the chip can be instituted anyway. So they're not going to have respect for Biden's or the incoming Donald Trump or Keir Starmer or whoever they decide to replace him with eventually here in the UK, if he makes it that far. Yeah, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, their houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. We're going to have curfews, all of that's going to be going on. And people are going to literally be turning back to their own kind, man. You know, and that's natural, man. Even when you take public transport, you know, you get different nations that will just sit amongst each other, man, because they don't want to be mixing. You see, all of this whole doctrine of nations mixing up is bullshit, man. Esau Edom knows that the natural way of life is for people to be amongst their people, man. And that's what it's going to go back to in a very raw sense. There's going to be real war on earth, man. Hell on earth is coming back in a major way. And Jake, man, You need to wake up. We understand, man, what time's coming. That's why we're studying these scriptures daily. We're doing this work because we know that we need Yahweh Hashem Yahushua to survive. But 2/3 of our people, man, they're going to get caught slipping. We don't need to be out here doing any sort of radicalized preparations, and brothers don't need to be going to, you know, Navy SEALs type training camps and shit. But the Lord will deliver us. But we do need to be aware of the times that we're in, man. Yahweh Shai said all these necessary evils had to come, you know, and they were necessary for the end. But he was going to deliver us all the same. So I must say, yeah, man, these devils are going to continue their preparations. They're going to come at our people with the sword. Some brothers might end up in situations where, you know, it gets dicey, it gets close to the wire, but the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to deliver us. Have faith, Akim. Shalom. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatham. Shalom.